What's happening, man? This your boy OG Freaky the Pimp, and this is the Culture Connection. It's a live internet roundtable where we can sit back and express our views and opinions about the events that go on in our community. Everything that affects our daily lives will be discussed on this show. My goal is to connect everything from our culture back to our communities. All opinions will be respected, none will be neglected. Now join me as we begin to connect. Church. Yo, what's happening? What's happening, man? What's happening? It is Sunday. It is 8 o'clock. And this is the Culture Connection, man. What's up? It's your boy, OG Freaky the Pimp. And like I said, it's Sunday, it's 8 o'clock, man. We're ready to go with the Culture Connection, man. So you know what time it is. I hope everybody's had a blessed, wonderful, superb Sunday. And I hope going into the new week, everybody's blessed and ready to start anew. You know what I mean? Because Sunday is a day of rest and recreation, you know, and at the beginning of the week is Monday, according to the work schedule. Beginning of the week is Monday, and I hope everybody's fresh and anew. All right, man. Today's topic, we're going to get into it, man. It's about Black Spring Break. And I know, I'm sorry, this camera's kind of fuzzy looking. We're going to talk about Black Spring Break a little bit, man. We want to know, we want to ask some questions about what happened to it, what went wrong, and what's going to happen next, what's going forward for the people of Black Spring Break, the organizers and the event goers of Black Spring Break. What we're going to do today is go through the history of some of the events that's held on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Kind of do a little comparison, like, um, and especially, let me write that down, the police efforts of each event. Police effort. I got a special guest coming on soon. He is kind of busy right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and start and try and get him involved in when soon to come in. Um, Mr. Percy Robson, when he comes in, I'll have him added to the thing. But first, like I said, we stream live every Sunday, man, 8 o'clock on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Now, I've asked people to go, and I'm asking people to go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Freaky the Pimp. Subscribe and share, man. You can watch it there. You can watch it here on Facebook, or you can watch it on Twitch, however you want to do it. But I mean, look, I need support. I do this thing because, not like I said, I always say at the end, I do this thing not because I have to do it, not because I want to do it, because I'm going to do it. Just want to make a difference. Um, and that's my motto is, and my goal is to connect the culture back to the community. So, having said that, man, I mean, I want to thank everybody that's been joining me these past Sundays. I think I'm into like show number 11, and my support is getting bigger and bigger, and the viewership is getting bigger in the stage. I mean, I get pretty good viewership. So that means people are watching and people are concerned about what's going on in the community. So I need people to amp that up 100,000%. You know what I'm saying? Because that is our community. This is our community. This is the area we live in. You see what I'm saying? So we have to be proactive in our communities to get the best results we can get out of our communities. So as long as you're supporting stuff like what I'm doing, and if anybody else has a platform, I know we got a couple of people that has platforms that's doing community events. I urge you to get out and support them, man, because what we need most is the support and the showing of unity. You dig what I'm saying? So again, I thank everybody that tunes in. Uh, Shout out to my cousin Brian, always tuning in. Brian Cook, I love you, homie. Um, some other people that's tuning in now. Everybody just coming in, man. But as you see, I'm representing Jackson State tonight. My cousin Brian is alumni. My cousin Rachel and Desiree, all alumni of Black Jackson State University. Attended Jackson State University. It's a family thing, a Cook family thing at Jackson State University, man. So shout out to Jackson State University. Um, Again, like I was saying, man, this is our community, man. This is if we don't show the interest and the love for our community, I can guarantee you nobody else will. You know what I mean? So that's why when we come on and do shows like this, man, and talk about things that's going on that only affects our community, sometimes it affects other communities, but like I said, Black Spring Break has affected the whole Gulf Coast of Mississippi since the year 2000. 2000 was the first one. Um, we have other events that's been around longer affects the Gulf Coast, but for some reason things are different. The attitude towards the locals are different. The attitude of the police officers and the response of the police officers are different on some of these events, um, and that's a big question. Why? Why is it that Black Spring Break and let me back up. I agree with the name is not that multicultural. You know what I'm saying? Not multicultural, but it's what it's called. You dig what I'm saying? So, but why would the event Black Spring Break be blackballed so much, quote unquote? I like do the quote unquote blackball so much compared to these other events that go on the Gulf Coast. Could it only be the makeup of the attendees, or is it bad organization from the event organizers? I mean, that's a question we have to ask, man, and that's why we're here today. Like I said, I have Mr. Percy Robinson is supposed to join me. He's kind of busy. He reported he had some kind of something event going on at Elaine's today that something happened and he's trying to get past it. So So bear with me with that. But like I said, let's get back to this Black Spring Break and these other events. And I'm gonna name the other events that I researched and show you the knowledge that I understand. I mean, not knowledge, but the information that I attained about these events and how they're similar but different, oh so much. Um, Again, we're gonna start with let's start with Cruising the Coast. Cruising the Coast is not only one of the oldest events, a bit major events like that, besides Mardi Gras, take away Mardi Gras and all that. But Cruising the Coast started in 1996. You know what I'm saying? Who was it organized by? It was organized by, believe it or not, the Coast Casinos. The Coast Casinos organized and put on Cruising the Coast for the first time in 1996. 1996. That goes back a little bit right after, well, 1996. The casinos got here, what, in '89. So let's say roughly 6 years, 6 to 7 years after the casinos got here, they organized the event called Cruising the Coast. Now, Cruising the Coast is advertised as America's largest block party. I want you to remember that. America's largest block party is how Cruising the Coast is advertised. Okay. So just a block party. They intended it to be classic car for a weekend. People come down and show off their classic cars and have a block party, which means music, partying, all in the streets. Correct me if I'm wrong. They started out in 1996, Cruising the Coast, with 374 cars registered. And that's 1996 in its first inaugural year. 374 cars in 1996. Last year, and this is last year, just, I mean, and I'm talking about numbers like that. I'm talking about registered vehicles. I'm not talking about the actual attendees or how many people showed up or that. I'm just talking about registered vehicles. Last year, it was a record number of registered vehicles. It was 10,070 registered vehicles for Cruising the Coast. Now that's from 1996, 374, to year 2024, 10,070 registered vehicles. Now, let's start breaking this down a little bit. Okay, we go from that's a huge growth. I mean, let me commend the organizers and the event goers of Cruising the Coast. And I seen y'all out there too, because y'all be out there too. It's not just a them thing, it's a us thing. I've seen y'all out there too. But let's say this. When you're talking money wise, last year, Cruising the Coast brought in $36.1 million into the state of Mississippi revenue, with 33.1% going to the Gulf Coast. So let me back that up and say it again. $36 million into the state's revenue last year. 33.1 million, all that came to the coast. So that means the state made 3 million for Cruising the Coast somehow, but not including the coastal counties. So the state made 3 million. I guess that's people traveling and getting gas and all that stuff. 10,070 cars registered last year, which means, you know, like I know, they just say the average 3 people or 4 people came in the car. Let's average it out to 4 people to travel together. Okay, so we're looking at, for the second week of October every year, Cruising the Coast comes here and they're bringing in numbers like this. They're bringing in cars. Like I said, last year was a registered. Now this year I checked it and it said they had 9,600 registered cars so far for this year in October. So we're looking to eclipse the 10,070 cars registered last year. And like I said, I commend the organizers. I commend the casinos. I commend the cities and the county for putting on a good show on the second week of October. I commend them because Cruising the Coast has grown tremendously since 1996. So that's a big jump, and it's in this event that's labeled as America's largest block party. Okay, so which means people like I and yourselves that live here are compliant with what? Bad traffic, tourists all over the place. And I work in the casino industry. We get a lot of nasty, mean, dare to say racist, um, just I ain't gonna say bad people, but all around just not desirable guests in the casino. I mean, you can ask anybody to work in casinos, or I guarantee you can ask anybody to work in a restaurant that some of these guests are not desirable, meaning that some of these guests are rude, some of these guests cause problems, and check this out, some of these guests get arrested. But I know you're sitting back and saying, well, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Now they cruise the code, people don't get arrested. Yeah, they do. Of course they do. And it's a significant more number of people getting arrested for cruising the coast than it is Black Spring Break, than it is scraping the coast, than it is Jeeping the coast, which we're going to get into a little bit later. Jeeping the coast is a virtually new one. Significantly, a lot more people getting arrested. Even for Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras and cruising the coast, there are more people arrested during that time frame than all the other events combined. Now, you do have to keep in consideration that cruising the coast is a week-long event, almost 2 weeks now. They stretched it out to almost 2 weeks. Um, you have to take in consideration that Black Spring Break is a 3-day event. Scraping the Coast is a 3-day event. Mardi Gras is well, it's about Mardi Gras is about a month long. Correct me if I'm wrong, but still, I mean, it's not continuous. You know what I'm saying? So if you're gonna give or take a couple of days of Mardi Gras, let's say 2 or 3 weeks of Mardi Gras. Um, what are those arrests? Public drunkenness, lewd act behavior, um, DUI rises significantly during cruising the coast. Um, also had murders, killings, shootings, all happened at cruising the coast. May not believe it, but it's true. I looked it up. So let's put a number on attendees of cruising the coast, and I want to say anywhere from 50 to 75,000 people attend cruising the coast. That's what my numbers said. Okay, so you're looking at an average of, and then a lot of them are have some that's local, and I should have looked up how many local cars are registered compared to how many out of town. But it's a lot of cars registered, 10,000. So I know some of them are local, but most of them, the bulk of them are from out of town. The next event we're looking at today is Black Spring Break, so-called Black Spring Break. Started in the year 2000. And I know that well because I was there. I attended Black Spring Break in 2000. I have attended a lot of Cruising the Coast events too throughout the years, but I attended Black Spring Break year 2000. I performed at the Gulf Coast Coliseum, so I was there and I was actually involved a little bit. In the year 2000, 30,000 attendees attended the Black Spring Break on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. That was the first initial Black Spring Break. 30,000 kids, young adults on the Black Spring Break and on the coast, on the beach. Um, and like I know, because I was there, that it was it was unfiltered. Now, let's be honest with you, it was unfiltered, meaning that it wasn't the best organized event. It was a lot of people on the beach. Traffic was backed up. I mean, kind of like cruising the coast, but it was like a lot of people was on the beach walking around. They had a lot of concerts. They had a lot of different setups where you can go. They had a lot of vendors on the beach. I remember walking from, and this sounds crazy, but we actually did this. I walked from um, the mall in Biloxi all the way down to Ocean Springs Bridge. That's how widespread the event was on that first initial event. Like I said, I was there. I performed. I know. And for 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the beach was overran. And I admit to you, it didn't seem like a well organized event, but uh, over that weekend, it was an event, and it was a wonderful experience. But there are people that were arrested, of course. Same kind of arrest that has in cruising the coast, like public drunkenness. Um, believe it or not, people arrested for lewd acts, sex acts on the beach. Same thing cruising the coast. You check it out. You can go look it up. What I'm getting at, the same kind of event and Black Spring Break is nothing but what? A block party, a beach party. So if Cruising the Coast can be labeled as America's biggest block party, and Black Spring Break was a block party, and why is it such is treated so differently? Hmm, I don't know, but we're gonna get into some more stuff. Uh, again, Black Spring Break is held on the second weekend of April historically. Now, I can go back and I done name some of the events I've been to and some of the events when I was in college. Jackson State University, um, that I went to or I wanted to go to or I heard about. Freaknik in Atlanta. I went to Freaknik in Atlanta. And when I tell you Freaknik in Atlanta was something I've never witnessed in my life, never witnessed it again because it was so the whole city of Atlanta was everything in my terms back then as a young adult, everything was happening right there. The whole city of Atlanta. I mean, we stood in traffic for standstill traffic for almost 2 hours. And some of the guys I went with, the girls were getting out of the cars, dancing on top of the cars, naked. Uh, strip clubs overran. I mean, it was just lewd, just you know. Black Spring Break on Mississippi Gulf Coast has nothing on Free Naked Atlanta. I don't care anybody, whatever they tell you, that's not true because that's a whole different animal. Uh, Black Beach at Galveston, Texas. I never went, but I always wanted to go. Daytona Beach, same thing. Black Beach. Same kind of event as Black Spring Break and Biloxi. And if I'm not mistaken, uh, Black Spring Break in Biloxi derived from the Daytona or Panama City or somewhere. It came from somewhere else. It came from somewhere else. And y'all can help me out if y'all know. Help me out and shoot me a comment on Facebook. But it came from somewhere else, man. But it got picked up down here, promoted by the local radio stations. Um, actually, Jay Z 94.5 sponsored the stage and did the concert at the Coliseum. Don't ask me who the big concerts were, but there was some concerts all over the coast. They had clubs all over the coast. Um, what was the club name down there in Biloxi on the beach? There used to be the movie theater. They participated. I know George Bush had his club. I think at the time it was Divine, either Divine or Cadillac. Of course, they participated. There was more clubs all up and down the Gulf Coast. Businesses, restaurants stayed open 24 hours. When they had a KFC in Biloxi, Mississippi, on the beach that stayed open 24 hours. I know, you know why? Because it was 4 o'clock in the morning. And I was in line, and it was a huge line. The Waffle House stayed packed. You know what I'm saying? The mall, stayed packed that whole weekend. So what I'm saying is the economic event on the Gulf Coast, Black Spring Break, was very very fruitful for the coast of Mississippi. I'm not going to say it was as lucrative as spring. I mean, Cruising the Coast was last year, but I do know in 2000 they made more on Black Spring Break than they made more from Cruising the Coast because Cruising the Coast was still growing. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not gonna say that Black Spring Break was a better event. I'm just saying that Cruising the Coast was still growing. The initial Cruising the Coast had 347 cars. I mean, 374 cars. The initial Black Spring Break had 30,000 students and kids and young adults on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Estimated. I want to say it was more than 30,000, but that's just the estimate. That's the official number. They said 30,000. But after that, in 2001, something started happening because I really believe that in 2000, Black Spring Break caught Mississippi and the Gulf Coast on by surprise. I think it was organized, and then it was the word was put out, and but I didn't think the officials of the cities of the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, talking about ranging from Gulfport, Biloxi, um, I'm not gonna say Ocean Springs, let's say Long Beach, Jackson, Harrison, and Hancock counties were caught off guard because they didn't believe anybody would show up for this event. So in 2001, they had to plan for this event. You see what I'm saying? Now, with no backing from the casinos, like Cruising the Coast, a lot of the businesses started pulling out, closing their doors, doing grotesque things like charging a fee for table groups of 10 and stuff. You know, that stuff started happening in 2001, the next year. Now, it manifested all the way up to 2024, which was, well, actually 2025, which was last April. Uh, it manifested into to a lot of people like shutting the doors, the city shutting the doors. It changed, cities changed their big event, the quote unquote, I like to do the quote unquote big event structure of the cities. You know, they shut down different lanes. It was impossible. You couldn't do this. You couldn't do this. 2001, and if you remember in 2002, they started turning people around at the interstate. Black Spring Break. You had to go way like you couldn't come down 49. You couldn't come down what's the you couldn't get off of Cedar Lake. You couldn't get off on the ramp because they were turning people around that just because they had a different state's tag. I'm not lying. This actually was the truth. They turned people around. People had to go to Old Springs and come back down. Or they went round down by Long Beach to Pasture Stand and come back around because they were shutting people down trying to get them from the coast. You know, stop me when I'm lying. I'll wait. But that's the truth. That's the truth. In 2001, what happened was they had to start planning. Like, get what I said. They had to start planning for Black Spring Break each year because they knew after the success of the first year, this was going to be a yearly event. Okay. Now that some of the cities start shutting down, like I said, in 2001, don't come here. Can't do it here. You can't do this here. A lot of the, and I'll tell you like this, a lot of the like the vendorship, it was impossible to get. Starting in 2001, I ain't gonna say it wasn't vendors, but up until last year, it was virtually impossible to get vendorship on the beach. Last year, none of the clubs had big major concerts like normally. Last year, which is 2025, this year, April, the last event of Black Spring Break, they had more police than they had actual beachgoers. And we got to ask ourselves why. Because the cities turned their back on that event. Now, compared to Cruising the Coast, let's go back to Cruising the Coast, where I'm gonna tell you, listen, this is the number I looked up. Now, you can look it up. You can say, Fred, you're wrong, and then if I'm wrong, tell me because I'm just looking up what I looked up. For every one person, let me take the back. I'm sorry. For every 800 people that attended Cruising the Coast, there was one police officer. Correct me if I'm wrong. For every 800 people I looked up, and it said it was one police officer for every 800 people in Cruising the Coast. Now, like I said, I have my sources. I do my research. I could be wrong. Prove me wrong though. And if I'm wrong, I humble myself. I regress. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Last year, Black Spring Break, it seemed like, and I don't know the official number, but it seemed like it was two police officers for every one person. Right now, we're just talking about Black Spring Break and Cruising the Coast. It's never been a Cruising the Coast where the bays of the beach where you can park at have been blocked off, barricaded, because that's the thing. The thing of Black Cruising the Coast is sit on the beach, watch the cars go by, barbecue, they want whatever they do, drink beer, get drunk, play in the street, have the kids out. Okay, fine. That's that event. The logic of Black Spring Break is go to the beach, enjoy the beach, have a good time, but there's nowhere to park. And that just started what, 2 or 3 years ago. They started doing that. Why? Why would they want to deter the event goers of Black Spring Break compared to the event goers of Cruising the Coast? That's the questions we have to ask. I don't know. Let's move to another event. Uh, Scraping the Coast. Scraping the Coast was started in 2005. Similar event to Cruising the Coast. If you ask me, it's kind of like a mixture in between of Cruising the Coast and Black Spring Break, because what you have is you got the cars, you got the drop top cars, you got the parades and all that stuff. You got the cruising up and down the beaches, but you have the younger adults, the younger crowd. Cruising the Coast is more middle aged, 60, 70, 50 years old, 40 years old. Those type people, are not only running that event, but also are attending that event and utilizing the beautiful scenery we have on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, anywhere from 40 to 70 years old. And I dare say they may have some 80-year-olds out there because they're the ones with the classic cars, with the original kits, original paint job, that type of stuff. Fine, that's perfectly fine. Scraping the Coast has the younger adults with the cars jacked up on the rims and music blasting and this and that and all that. And they're mostly their clientele, let's say, are mostly richer, um, more upper middle class young adults. They get their money from their mom and daddy. They got the nice car. They got the big truck with the big wheels on with the lights hanging off on the bottom and stuff like that. But they're on the beach. Now, Scraping the Coast don't get far as many venues to use as Cruising the Coast, but it gets more than Black Spring Break. It gets accepted more than Black Spring Break. It's still held at the Coliseum. Coliseum shut down Black Spring Break. Can't have it there. City of Biloxi shut down Black Spring Break. They had to move to Gulfport this year, for the most part. But the events of Scraping the Coast is right there at the Coliseum, right there in Biloxi, Mississippi, right there on the beach. Now, I do commend the Biloxi police officers, the police officers that travel abroad, um, other city police officers, the counties, the sheriff county, for coming up with a plan to control the traffic. That's very honorable. That's very, for somebody that works, a lot from, I work in Gulfport and Biloxi, so to travel from that area, they made it easier for me. So I commend them on that. They made it easier for the mama want to go to the store and go to the grocery store, or take their kids somewhere. They made it a lot easier. They made it easier for emergency vehicles to travel during that time. So I commend them on that. But the show of force is definitely different. Why? That's the question we have to ask. And I'm still waiting on my guest, Mr. Percy Robinson. I'm still waiting on him to come in. Percy, come on in when you get a chance, bro. I can see you. Let me know. It's different. You know what I mean? Scraping the Coast, you got anywhere from 13,000 to 40,000 people that attend that yearly, according to their website, according to what I looked up. So anywhere from 13 to 40,000 people. Also has a huge economic uh, economic for the coast. It's big. They make a lot of money doing Scraping the Coast. But like I said, it's catered towards richer, upper class, you know, Americans, young adults, but upper class, upper middle class and upper and higher class. Whereas Black Spring Break is considered catered to low income. I'm telling you what they said on the site, on what I looked up. It's lower income. It's middle class at best. Black, young Americans, and the key words is Americans, because everybody that attend Cruising the Coast is considered American. Everybody Black Spring Break that goes to Spring Break is considered American. Everybody that goes to Scraping the Coast are considered American. So American is the key word. But for some reason, the events are treated differently. Now, like I said, it could be because of They're planning the event. Scraping the Coast is well, I ain't gonna say it's well organized, but it's organized better than Black Spring Break is. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. And it's also a 3-day event. Uh, to one of the newest events on the coast. And I know we all seen this, Jeep in the Coast. We all seen Jeep in the Coast and what they bring. Now, Jeep in the Coast is a lot different because um, it actually started in 2011 as a fundraising event for breast cancer week. And you can look it up. Jeep in the Coast started in 2011 as a fundraiser. Fundraiser. You know how many Jeeps they had on the first Jeep in the Coast? 29. 29 Jeeps on Cruising the Coast. I'm sorry, on Jeep in the Coast. 29 in 2011. 29 Jeeps cruised up and down the beach. And that was a fundraiser for breast cancer, right? So going fast forward, and it's coming up. It starts May the 21st. I mean May the 28th, and it lasts for to June the 1st. That's like 3 or 4 days. They do that. But in 2015, something different happened. They changed into a sole event. They took away the fundraising event that was in 2011 and created their own event. You know what I'm saying? So, um, what's up, Big Gill? What's going on? Um, they created their own event, and the organizer of Jeep of the Coast. And then what they do on Jeep of the Coast, they ride up and down the beach. They ride on the beach. They park on the beach, on the sand. And like I said, it was an event for breast cancer, but now it's something different. You see flags. You see a lot of different flags. You see a lot of people, you know, messing up the traffic. Traffic is messed up. And as a local, I'm a local in Mississippi. Pastor Stan, Mississippi 39571, 39571. As a local, any event that messes up the traffic, like Mardi Gras, all that stuff, man, it ears my nerves. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to be stuck in traffic. And I know a lot of y'all that live down here don't want to be stuck in traffic, but we do have respect for these events because you know I know if I'm cruising the coast. I travel the back roads. You see what I'm saying? I go to the interstate. I go to work on the interstate. I don't go down 90 because I know what's going on. But Jeep in the Coast is well recognized, well accepted, growing fast, well supported. You see the signs that say "Welcome Jeepers." You know what I'm saying? You see the signs that say "Welcome Cruisers" to cruising the coast. But you don't see the signs say "Welcome Spring Breakers." You don't see the signs saying "Welcome Scrapers." You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I kind of liken them two events together because they're they're a younger crowd, you know, on that level only. But you don't see these different things. The question is why? Why, as the owner of a business, would I turn my back to thousands and thousands of kids coming here just to spend money and hang out in your city? You don't do it for cruising the coast. You're wide open. You're with your signs hanging out. You got people out there twirling the fucking signs. Come cruise. You know, at the restaurants and stuff. I seen it. I know you've seen it too. You run specials. You make sure that people cruising the coast, you know, eat well. Make sure they got places. And I work at the casinos. I know what they do for them. They roll out the red carpet for them, and that's fine. That's fine and dandy because any smart businessman or anybody that's looking to be a smart businessman would know that the more people in your area, the more money you should naturally make, especially in the restaurant business. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the a bar, somewhere where people go to gather. You know what I mean? But the city of Biloxi, Mississippi, and their city council, and their mayor, and I'm not saying that they're against it, but they're not for it. They're not for it. And the reason why I can say they're not for it, and I can really be honest and say they're not for it. They may not be against people like that look like you and I coming to the coast to enjoy themselves. They're not for it because they set special rules. They do special things. They block off the beach. They don't want you to have access to the beach. Now this is a public beach. It's a public beach. It ain't. Uh, it's not owned by any city. It's a public beach. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you're from down here, I don't have to mention the Wade In with Dr. Gilbert Mason and all that because we already know that history in the '60s. What happened? I mean, we weren't the people that looked like me and you weren't allowed to go to the beach. Period. Or they had special spots in the beach where they can go to, but not the beach. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, the city of Biloxi, and I dare say Harrison County, has shut off the beach to these uh, college kids. Now, when I do say college kids, I don't mean that every kid or every young adult that attends Black Spring Break is in college or has a good sense. And I'm just being honest with you, or is meant to have a good time. There's a lot of people that come down here to like to have cause chaos. A lot of people like that come down here and just be nuisance to the area. I get all that. I get all that. But you had the same type of people for Mardi Gras. You had the same type of people for cruising the coast. You had the same type of people for scraping the coast, and you definitely had the same type of people for jeeping the coast. It's the major events we're talking about. We all been to Mardi Gras. We love Mardi Gras. We accepted Mardi Gras. We adapted to Mardi Gras. We got down there. Mardi Gras is a big block party, and every city has a Mardi Gras parade now. Bay St. Louis with the crew of real people, and we'll get that too. Waveland, Ocean Springs, from Waveland to Ocean Springs, Moss Point, all these cities that have Mardi Gras parades, meaning the city allows you to come hang out in their city and have a good fucking time. And I concur because this is my show. But they allow you to come have a good time. For what? Just come have a good time so they can throw beads at you. And they spend a lot of money on these floats, and everybody's got vendors and all that stuff. Until last year, something different happened. But up until last year, when I say last year, I mean last Mardi Gras. Up until last year, vendors were welcome. You know, all that good stuff. And don't get me wrong. I enjoyed Mardi Gras. I haven't been to a Mardi Gras parade in 12 years because number one reason because I work. Okay, so I don't want to take. I'm not going to take off to go to no damn parade. Okay, I'm older. I don't do that no more. Now, when I was coming in high school in the city of Pastor Stan, Mississippi, 39571, 39571, we made it a point. We used to go get outfits, all that stuff. We used to make sure we were clean. We had a meeting spot. Everybody, meet there. Same for the crew of real people in Bay St. Louis, back in town, Bay St. Louis, a place to park. We'll go. We would do that. You know what I'm saying? That was Mardi Gras. But we get the same arrest record, public drunkenness, lewd acts, fighting, shooting. And yes, there's been a couple of people that got killed in Mardi Gras parades. They got a couple of people that got killed at Cruising the Coast. There's been a couple of people killed at Black Spring Break and shot at. Same thing. Because what I'm phantom in my brain is when you have a group of people to get somewhere to convene on one area, those crime rates go up. It's going to be more public drunkenness. It's going to be more lewd acts. It's going to be more fighting. It's going to be more shooting. God forbid. But it's liable to happen the more people you have. Okay. The question is, which is the theme of this show, why and what went wrong with Black Spring Break for it to be in the situation that it is now, which is now null and void after this year. And what's next? And what's next? And man, and I hate to say this, man, but I'm gonna add this in there before I say this. What I'm gonna say: make sure you register to vote if you're from Gulfport, if you're from Biloxi, if you're from, I mean, and I don't care where you're from. Make sure you register to vote and vote in these local elections. June 5th, we have a local election coming up. It's going to determine the mayor of Gulfport, some city council members in Gulfport, the same in Biloxi, same in other cities across the coast. These are way more important than a presidential election on the fact that the impact hits you first. You see what I'm saying? Something goes on in Biloxi affects you more than something goes on in Washington, D.C. or in Idaho or in Wisconsin. You see what I'm saying? Your local elections are the most important elections because it affects you more. I just had to throw that in because I know we got these elections coming up. May 5th is the last day, and May 5th is what? Tomorrow. You have to be registered to vote by May 5th to vote in the June election. So if you have not registered to vote yet, get your ass up tomorrow morning and go register to vote. It's just that simple. And if you are registered to vote, get your ass to the poll. There's no excuse. No excuse. And we're gonna do another political show and bring some more candidates on before June 5th. Let them talk to y'all again. Congratulations to the ones that won their runoffs and the primaries. Now we get into the big election, the general election, which means that whoever wins these races are going to be in that seat. Again, the mayor selects who the police chief is. The mayor and the city councils in these cities select who the school board members are. Okay? The mayor and the council members of these cities decide which roads are going to get fixed and which potholes are going to get covered and who can open up a business in your area. So we need to be well represented. It don't matter if you're black or white or green or yellow. We have to be well represented. The people of our communities in these wards and these districts, they need to be represented in each district. You need to be represented well. Each uh, ward in the city of Gulfport, in the city of Biloxi, Pasture Stand, Long Beach. These we have to be represented from each ward. We can't have uh, somebody that don't represent us, somebody that don't look like us or don't know us to represent us. How are you going to represent us? And you don't know us. How are you going to represent us and you don't think like we think, or you don't have the same attributes that we have. You see what I'm saying? How can I represent you and I don't have your same plight? It's impossible. So we need people like people to represent who we are. So we have to register to vote. You had to get out there and vote. Again, the last day to register to vote for the June 5th election is tomorrow. So if you haven't registered to vote or you know somebody had to register to vote, get them there. You know what I'm saying? Because this is very important. Very important. We can make history in Gulfport. We can change things in Biloxi. We can change things in Pasture Stand, Mississippi, 39571. 39571. We ain't gonna change that. We can change things that happen countywide. You have to vote. But what I was saying was, we've been laying down too long, man. I mean, I always said, and I said this on my first show, that during the civil rights era, we were just trying to fit in, you know, sit in just so we sit in the restaurant so we can eat. Then you eat the food. The food is nasty because it wasn't seasoned like you wanted, or uh, so we can go to the beach. They had to wade in, to get in the water and wade in the water, and people got arrested. People got hit upside the head. You know, we boycotted. We marched. You know what I mean? Just to be included. You know what I'm saying? And I still think today in the year 2025, we're still living in that mentality. We want to be included, but we represent enough of the economy tree to do our own thing, to branch out and have our own businesses and our own events and all that stuff, and it can be well represented and well supported. What happened to Black Spring Break is not acceptable. What happened to Black Spring Break is not logical compared to the other events happening on the Gulf Coast. Yes, this is my opinion, but in my opinion, Black Spring Break was blackballed or prevented to grow because of, and I'm gonna give you this why I think. One, because the name alone. I know some of the organizers, and I agree they should have changed the name a long time ago. They should call it Gulf Coast Week or something. I mean, something different than Black Spring Break because you're alienating half, if not more, of the community when you say Black Spring Break. That's just my honest opinion. No, doesn't mean I'm not pro-Black. Doesn't mean I don't love Black people. I'm just saying um, the event has never been organized that well. I mean, since 2000, the event was organized pretty well. I do say that, but after that, the event hadn't been organized as well it was in 2000, and it's been declining every year. Three. That was two. Three. The clientele of this event are young college African Americans or young African American male and female that age range from, let's say, 16 to 25. And again, if you 40 years old out there trying to beat the premier, get your ass home, sit down. Okay, let them kids have their fun. You know what I'm saying? But from the age of 16, 15, 16 to 25, 26 is this age range of kids coming down. Now, I admit kids can be destructive. Kids can be, rowdy, and but so can some of these adults, and that's been proven over and over and over since 1996 of Cruising the Coast. 28 years, 29 years, maybe 29th year of Cruising the Coast this year. 29 years on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And you've seen some of everything. You've seen people get killed by car accidents, cars burning out, running to crowds of people. You've seen people fighting. You heard people shooting. People getting drunk, playing in the streets. And I'm gonna tell you like this. I get off 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes. When I come down that beach 4 o'clock in the morning, there's still people out there partying and burning tires out on Cruising the Coast, just like there are people out at spring break on the beach having a good time. And I'm not saying the Cruising the Coast people don't have a good time. I'm just saying same thing. But what you notice a lot differently is the police presence at 4 o'clock in the morning on Black Spring Break is totally different from the police presence of Cruising the Coast at 4 a.m. It's more. It's a big difference between 12 noon on the Cruising the Coast event to 12 noon to the Black Spring Break event, because normally Cruising the Coast event, the police are out just regulating the traffic, making sure the traffic is flowing. If anybody is stalled, they're trying to do this, they're trying to maneuver traffic. But at Black Spring Break, they're like, and in my opinion, and nobody, this store doesn't represent anybody's opinion but my own. And then when a guest comes on, they can represent their opinion, but this opinion is mine and mine only. That at 12 noon, you can tell by the command center in Biloxi, and somebody called it what they call it, police heaven, or what they call it. You got the towers, the snipers on the roof. Back up, let me say that again. They got the police towers right there at the mall, snipers on the roof, helicopters. Stop me when I'm lying, I'll wait. But it's different, a different presence, from Cruising the Coast, because you don't see the helicopters, you don't see the snipers on the roof. You know what I'm saying? They got a command center at the mall, but it's not police, not that many police. Their command center is at the Coliseum. So what you see at the Coliseum when you go in the Coliseum, you see in the registration and the people driving in the Coliseum and parking, and then you see people walking with their lawn chairs. You know what I'm saying? You see people out there driving their RVs, finding a place to park on the beach to camp out for a week. Stop me when I'm lying. And I am not against Cruising the Coast. Let me say that. I'm not against Cruising the Coast, but I'm pointing out some of the differences. You see the campers lined up. You see the same thing for Mardi Gras. Campers lined up on the beaches along the parade route. People are actually living in these campers the whole week. The whole week they're out there living in these campers. You do not see that for Black Spring Break. You do not see campers lined up because people can't afford the campers. You're talking about college kids. But you don't see there's a police present at these camper sites. You don't see police ride around, making sure they not making sure they're not smoking weed or doing drugs or hanging out doing lewd acts. You don't see that. But you see it at Black Spring Break when they got police beach cruisers. You got the police cars. They got the bays blocked off because you can't park at the beach. They got the command center at the mall with thousands of police that they bring in from each city around local areas around. They bring help command this event for three days, the whole weekend. Why? It's a question we had to ask. It's a question we had to ask. But the question we ask, the answer's already known. The answer's already known why. You know it, I know it, they know it. They know why. And I'm gonna back up to the city council of Biloxi. They changed the laws for big events because of Black Spring Break. It wasn't because Cruising the Coast, because if they had their way, Cruising the Coast would have remained untouched. Drive around free at will, do what you got to do. You know, get in trouble, we're gonna arrest you, but hey, you're not gonna tow your car like they do Black Spring Break. And again, I was there in 2000. Do you know how many cars were towed because they were parking on the beach? I had a friend of mine that was stuck in traffic playing his music loud, and the police told him to turn it down. He asked them why. They arrested him and took his car. Now, how many times you go down the beach for Cruising the Coast, you see these cars burning out, people stand up and applaud, hey, go Jim, go Jim. You see it constantly on Cruising the Coast when these cars are blocking traffic, burning out and everything. Why? Why is the police presence not as thick as Black Spring Break when you got one, more people, two, a longer event? But keep in mind, you have more arrests. So somewhere it don't add up. It don't add up that you got more violations. I'm gonna stop saying arrests. Let's say violations. You got way more violations. The violation of public instruct, lewd acts, drugs, all that stuff, Cruising the Coast and Black Spring Break and Scraping the Coast, all that stuff. Because, like I said, if I go back and rewind, that when people gather together, a group of people, a large group of people gather together, it's more privy to have these um, allegations and have these acts that's being committed going on because there's more people in a certain area. And my guest hadn't joined me yet, but Black Spring Break, as we know it, the Black Spring Break, as we know it, as I remember, I went. I think I went 3 years, 3 or 4 years to it actually attended events. And again, in 2000, they had every club on the beach had a concert over somewhat. I know. Shout out to my boy Dub G. A lot of the local rappers had concerts, but throwing their own concerts. I know Dub rented the club and the club in Biloxi on the beach and had a local concert to the likes of people like my brothers J Mac, Acres Smith, Coast Boys, Iceberg Nim, Sergeant Rock, CBS, all these groups. And if I fail to mention some of these people, forgive me, but you know what I mean when I say all these names. Uh, were a part of an organized spring break event in the year 2000, sponsored by and Jay Z 94.5 was one of the main sponsors. He said they had the stage at the Coliseum and all that stuff. But somewhere along the line in 2000, I'm gonna say starting in 2001, the event started changing because the police presence got to a point where um, these kids were coming down and these kids were being arrested and harassed for nothing, just because you were coming to attend the event. They were blocking the interstate. You couldn't turn off Cedar Lake, couldn't turn off of 610. You couldn't get to the beach that way. You had to go around because this event was going on. I know y'all remember this. They put signs on the interstate, a major event going on. And they put it on down there and starting out there by Broad Avenue in Gulfport. Beware of traffic and all that stuff. And they do it for every event now. I do say that, but that started with Black Spring Break. Started with Black Spring Break. like I said, that's when stuff started going wrong. That's when the event changed to me in 2001. Now we got to 25 years, 2025, 25 years of Black Spring Break. In year 25, it's officially, and I want to say officially, and I say that's in my opinion, it's a dead event because of one, the police presence and how these kids are treated. How many you heard a lot of stories of people going to restaurants getting turned around or restaurants closing. And I said, I don't know, I put a post on Facebook years ago and said, if they're gonna be closed for spring break, just because it's Black Spring Break, then you should be closed to us all year. But what we do, we run our ass right back down to McDonald's, get a Big Mac. Run right down there to some of these clubs and stuff, and some of these restaurants on the beach, and gotta you know gotta go out there, gotta support the local business. But they will close when our kids come down here to have a event and have a good time. I'm saying all this to say this, man, and since my guest is coming on, I'm really had to cut this live short. But I'm waiting on comments on Facebook anywhere. If you want to say anything, you want to add anything to what I'm saying, by all means, um, just say something. Just let me know what you're thinking. And look, and I'm getting. Let me read some of these comments, and I'm sorry. Um, what's up, Mississippi? Oh, my brother Andre. Uh, hey, Miss Jackie Scott, we're in Houston, Texas. My brother Jake says it's safe to say they are against it. He's been to the city council meeting when spring break is on the agenda, and I know you have, man. And I know it's And I'm sorry, I should have been reading these comments earlier. What's up, Clifton? What's up, Bentley? What's up, brothers? Um, it it really has. It's been a failing event for 25 years. It's been, and I'm saying this, it was way more successful than Cruising the Coast was its first. It's kind of like they did like a path cross because you went from 30,000 kids in 2000. So last year they probably had 700 people out there, if that many. Whereas Cruising the Coast started out in 1996 and had 374 registered vehicles to 10,070 last year, looking to be over 11,000 this year because each event was treated differently. Each event, one had open arms, welcome, welcome, welcome cruisers. Every restaurant you seen, welcome cruisers, cruisers dine here, all that stuff. But when Black Spring Break and the Spring Breakers come in town, these college kids come in town, you don't see that. You don't see the welcome sign. You saw it like first year, but I think it got hit so hard. It got hit so hard with so many people they didn't know what to expect. Caught them off guard. And now they had to plan for all these young kids coming down here acting up. And yes, we do act up. And I'm not saying that it's a perfect event. We do act up. Hotel rooms. I wrote this down, and this is the most shocking thing to me. One of the most shocking things. I work in the casinos. The average casino room for Black Spring Break last, well, not last year, because the year before, when the last, I'm gonna say the last official Black Spring Break, $1,100 a night at these casinos, at these coast casinos. I don't know the numbers on the Motel Sixes and Super Eights and all that stuff, but I know the average casino, and check my facts. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But when I looked up, the average room was $1,100 a night. And we talk about college kids that don't have that money. But guess what? Those rooms were filled. The rooms were filled. The mall was packed. They spent money at Walmart. You know, they spent money in the casinos. And I dare to tell you that on Cruising the Coast, they don't spend that much money at some of these restaurants like you would think. Because why? Most of them have campers, so most of them are shopping at Walmart, or bringing their own stuff. They're cooking their own stuff. Uh, I can contest they don't spend that much money in the casino. They really don't. And that's something I know. That's not something I'm thinking that I might be wrong about. No, I know. I deal with them. I deal with some of these cruisers and some of these spring breakers, and I see The young kids coming in spending thousands of dollars, and they have some people from cruising coast, but for the majority of people are spending $100, $200 in the casinos. And that's just, I'm telling you, that's the truth. That's the truth. So the casino really doesn't see no impact besides, more people. They're not getting a big revenue jump where, oh, cruising the coast is the thing for the casino. No, they just sponsored it, and they sponsored it. My opinion, they sponsored to get more people down here, and which is a great, wonderful thing. And I am not against cruising the coast. It's pretty exciting if you ask me. It's just treated differently. Why is the question? Hey Beverly, how you doing? And Andre, my brother, he said, yeah, people are not going to come spend money where they're not welcome. And that's been the case for Black Spring Break, or whining over the years, I won't say last 4 years, that people have stopped coming. I mean, you can only harass people so long, man. You can only treat people differently for so long before they get that wind of what they got going on, man, and not want to be a part of the event. But my point was this: same revenue jump you see for cruising the coast, you saw it for Black Spring Break. You don't see that much from scraping the coast because it's not that big an event. If I had to rank the events I listed, besides of course Mardi Gras is bigger than anything. Cruising the coast is a huge event. It's America's block party. Um, Black Spring Break will be the next biggest event as we knew it. Then scraping, then jeeping, because jeeping is virtually new. But you know, um, I don't know, since Trump was elected president, you'll see a lot of people out there with the Trump flags this year. Trump 28, yeah. But again, hotel rooms, average hotel room was $1,100 during Black Spring Break compared to $500 during cruising the coast. So why is it that you had to spend more than twice as much as for a room for the hotel room at the Gulf Coast? I mean, the Black Spring Break than you do for spring. I mean, cruising the coast. I'm mixing my words up. Let me say that again. Why is it that you spend twice as much more for a room during Black Spring Break than you do for cruising the coast? Let's take in consideration that a lot of people bring their campers for cruising the coast and they have places to stay, so they don't too much need a room. Which means go back to my previous statement that they're not spending that much money in the casino. They'll come get, and I'm gonna tell you, we give them comps and they come eat, free on the casino. The casinos have every last casino has an event for these people where they pretty much tell the people, hey, come on in, man. We're gonna get drawn. We're gonna draw. Y'all gonna earn. You can win a car. You can win free play. You can win that. They don't do that for Black Spring Break. Keep in mind again that the average age of Black Spring Break is a lot different from the average age cruising the coast. See, everything ain't black and white. I'm gonna say that right now. Everything ain't black and white, but everything has something to do with money. Everything. And I said that to say this. I understand why the casinos, you know, South Mississippi's largest industry is the casino industry. It was military, but now it's casinos. Our largest industry on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. It's understandable that they cater to people that would spend money. It's understandable that they want these people to come in and want to partake of their investment so they can make more money and bring you back next year to do the same. And then you bring your friends. They want to put on a good show. I work in the casino industry. I understand how it works. That's why the casinos are busy during holidays, and that's why you see all these events going on and concerts and giveaways and all that good stuff going on virtual on holiday weekends, and cruising the coast is the only exception because money is here. Money being made around here. Money being made around here. Big old house, fancy cars, diamond ring. If you like that type of thing, but the money is here on the coast. You know what I'm saying? So I understand that. I understand these restaurants welcome cruisers. I understand that because money is here. But what I don't understand is during Black Spring Break, the same money is here but the clientele is different. So I don't understand why you don't cater to these younger kids. Restaurants. I don't understand why you put a what's up Tucson? I don't understand why you put things in place at your restaurant when if it's a group of 10 or more, you got to pay this much more to just to sit down in a restaurant. I don't understand you writing black bitch on a ticket during Black Spring Break. Do you write rich white bitch on a ticket during Black Spring Break? I mean, cruising the coast. Why you do it during Black Spring Break is what I'm getting at. I wish my guest was here so we can elaborate on more what they the event organizers organizing and trying to do. And I'm not going to announce no announcements. I know I said there's going to be a major announcement. I'm not going to announce because I can't speak for them, But look for major announcements coming up because I'm not going to be here long. I'm just telling you what I know. Look for major announcements that's coming up about the Black Spring Break event that's coming up. Okay, be privy to that, man, and know what to know, and know how to know, and know where to go to know. But I can't. I'm not going to speak for them and tell them that this event's going on. I can't do that. But I mean, I'm just saying, why is it like night and day, and excuse the term, but it's like night and day treatment for one event versus the other event. And support is like night and day for one event versus the other event. Why? When both events cause the same problems, have the same arrest record of all, I mean, everything that you get arrested for at Black Spring Break, you're gonna find more people getting arrested for the same thing at Cruising the Coast. And definitely at Mardi Gras, you're gonna see public drunkenness arrested. You're gonna probably have 10,000 people arrested for public drunkenness during Mardi Gras because that's that event. A religious event at that. And I ain't gonna call it a religious event, but it's based off of um, you know, Good Friday and Palm Sunday and all that good stuff. What the Catholics believe leading up to Easter Sunday. Uh, Fat Tuesday is all lead up to Ash Wednesday, which is Ash Wednesday when you, I'm not Catholic, when you go get the ash on your head. It's a religious event. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm just saying it's a religious event, Ash Wednesday, where Mardi Gras leads up to Ash Wednesday. That's what I'm saying. It's like the last party before um, Lent, the Lent season. You know what I'm saying? But Mardi Gras has a big police presence. They bring police in from different cities and different states. They do, um, but it's pretty much uncontrollable. Same thing. Lewd acts, drugs, DUIs, all that good stuff. Shootings, killings. The beginning of Lent. Yeah, thank you, Andrea. That's the beginning of Lent is Ash Wednesday. But Mardi Gras is the events leading up to Ash Wednesday, right? That's why I say it's like a religious holiday or a religious burn all that sin off before you. And I'm not knocking Catholics. I love Catholics. I love everybody. I'm not saying I'm just saying that's what they believe. That's what they do. The Lent season, leading up to the Lent season, um, from Ash Wednesday leads up to Easter Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So but I said again, Mardi Gras is pretty much uncontrollable because you got a lot of police. You got a lot of police coming in with still have the same infractions going on. You still have more people getting arrested. You know what I'm saying? You got more people getting arrested on Fat Tuesday than you have on Black Spring Break. At the record I looked up, police records. Look it up for yourself. I'm not bullshit. You look it up for yourself. But it's welcome and it's supported, and it's the event of the year on the coast. You do say that. Mardi Gras is the event, and they got Mardi Gras all over from Lafayette, Louisiana to Mobile, where it first started, Mobile, New Orleans, New Orleans, whatever y'all call it. Mardi Gras is in our area, in our circumference of Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, even in Texas, they got a couple Mardi Gras parades. Or doing something with Mardi Gras. We got people that come back home from abroad that they mark their calendars. I'll tell you this: I lived in Pittsburgh, the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for 6 years. Every year I came home for Mardi Gras, and that was the only time I came home for Mardi Gras. I know people like that. Shout out to my friend Kevin Clark. But I mean, Mardi Gras was an event. It's an event. So uh, same problems. The traffic's messed up. People getting drunk. People get fighting. Everything like that happens at the Black Spring Break, Mardi Gras, cruising the coast, scraping the coast. Not so much as deep in the coast. And I believe because it's small, it's still growing, and it's a select. You have to be, I don't know, I ain't gonna say you had to be a Trump fan to go to deep in the coast, but it's inspired by that type of individual where the flags are out and all that stuff. So you're not gonna see as much inbreed fighting amongst themselves. I'm gonna say you're not gonna see it, but you're not gonna see as much. Um, and this is from my brother Jake. He said, the Gulf Coast is a tourist area. However, they want to select which tourists are welcome. That's exactly right. That's my point. That is my point. Like I said, for so long, we've been laying down on this. For so long, we just want to get accepted. They let us go on the beach in 1960s with Dr. Gilbert Mason. God bless his soul, and the people our grandparents that went down on the beach and got their head bust in just because they wanted to get their feet wet, or just want to see the pretty sand. Up until and man, I can count how many times on my fingers, my 5 fingers, how many times I've been to the beach down here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not a recreation that and I'm saying speaking on uh my personal opinion, that I don't want to go to the damn beach. I just don't, because I don't swim and I don't, get wet. Now I've been to some bonfires, yeah, but I can count on my hand, especially in the last 30 years, how many times I've been to the beach. But I'm saying this, man, and it's all leading up to this, like I said, just like my brother just said. Shout out to Jake, I love you, boy. Uh, the tourist commission was set up down here, and I don't know what year, and it's to welcome the tourists and come up with events and support events and all that stuff. Of course, Cruising the Coast is supported by the Tourism Commission. Black Spring Break is not. Um, you can do certain things on Cruising the Coast that you can't do on Black Spring Break. Hi, Nisha, how you doing? And one of them is parking on the beach, a public beach, believe it or not. The other one is hanging out. They see you hanging out late at night, they're gonna come pull up and put the lights on you, see what's going on while y'all hanging out. When I tell you the same stuff goes on during Cruising the Coast, and I see it, and I don't see no police. I kid you not. I'm not gonna say where I work at or what casinos I work at, but I traveled from Biloxi to 49 in Gulfport one night. Last year's Cruising the Coast, and I saw a lot of people out partying, having a good time. This is 4 o'clock in the morning as I adjust my seat. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I seen people out there partying, having a good time, and drinking, playing loud music. And I seen one police car from, might as well say, from the Ocean Springs Bridge all the way to Highway 49 in Gulfport. And that is not a lie. That's something I witnessed myself. And to be honest with you, the police car didn't even have his lights on. He was parked at I guess somebody had like a little party that was right there on the edge of the beach. He was parked on the side of the road out talking to the people, so he could have been just mingling. I don't know. He wasn't. I don't know. I don't know if he was mingling or giving out tickets or what, but he was out there. You know, I'm not privy to what they were talking about, but he wasn't aggressive. I'm just saying, man. Um, I don't know. I think, and I'm gonna speak for myself on this. I'm not gonna speak. I'm not gonna speak for the event and the event itself or the organizer of the event. I'm gonna speak for myself. I think what has to happen and what should have happened a long time ago with Black Spring Break. First and foremost, it should have been well organized. How you doing, Mr. Willie Robinson, my brother? I love you. Grant Jones, my brother, I love you. I think that Black Spring Break should have been an organized event from the beginning. Should have been a well organized event. Why? Because it's us, and we should have been more organized to combat these issues that we face with it. We should have been ready because you knew they were gonna mess with us. And I'm talking about honest opinion. I'm not talking nothing about politics. I'm not talking about what such and such said or the cities that I'm talking about how I feel. And I feel that we knew they were gonna try and shut this event down eventually, which they have succeeded now. So we should have been on our P's and Q's about everything. We should have been going to city council meeting. We should have had a representative go to each city and go to city council meeting and speak up and say, hey, we want to do this. We want trying to make this event this. We have this planned. That has not been done because we see the results of that. And I'm not knocking nobody. I'm not speaking down on any of the organizers. I'm not speaking down on the event. I like Black Spring Break, like I like Cruising the Coast, like I like Mardi Gras, like I like Scraping the Coast, because it's an event that, one, brings revenue to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Two, where people can get out and enjoy themselves. Families can get out and go enjoy these events. All these events are that like that. You see what I'm saying? But what I don't understand is why do these cities don't want it? They don't want Black Spring Break. And if you ask them why they don't want Black Spring Break? But the traffic's bad, the crime rate, uh, these kids don't do nothing but get out there on the beach and party, and then I can't get to work. But you do the same damn thing for Cruising the Coast. You go your ass and be happily waving at these kids. I mean, these people cruising the coast. And you get your ass out there when you off. What you do? Get your lawn chair and set your fat ass right there on the goddamn beach and watch it too. And I seen us out there too. And I'm not talking about just one group of people. I'm talking about us. I seen you out there too. I went out there a couple of times. I ain't going no more, but I've been out there a couple of times. Hey Rhonda, how you doing? Sister Larry, how you doing? I'm just shouting out people. We've come down to this, where this coast area where we live and we love has become a place where they want to pick and choose who they cater to or who comes to enjoy our beautiful beaches, our luxurious casinos, our beautiful hotel rooms, and the other uh, events and the other places you can go to, the aquarium, all that stuff. They want to choose who can do that. They want to say it's okay for you to come down here for a whole week and burn your tires and run over people, have accidents, get drunk and drive drunk and endanger everybody on the road. You can do that for a week, but for 3 days, you can't come down here and stand in the parking lot and drink a beer. That's what I said, man. These are the questions that we need to ask. These are the points we need to bring to these cities. You should have been going spring. When I'm talking to you, spring break organizers. You should have been going to all these city council meetings yearly long for a year, every year during the months, at least once a month. Send somebody to these city council meetings and speak up for yourself. Present yourself a different way. Present your event in a different manner, in a different light, and not wait until the week of Black Spring Break to start trying to start explaining yourself, go on TV and oh yeah, we're going to did it. But you should have been doing that every month, once a month. You should be having meetings. Talk to one of the organizers of Black Spring Break, and I told him, in my opinion, I'm just giving you my opinion, my advice. You should pattern yourself after Cruising the Coast. Do everything they did. Do everything they did, and that way, especially now, if they stop you from doing what you got to do, now you got a lawsuit. You can say, hey man, we did it exactly like they did it. We followed every rule. We got these kids to register. We knew exactly how many people were coming down here. We had special events for all these kids that registered. That's the same thing Cruising the Coast does. We got events at this place, on this date, this date. We got an itinerary. You see what I'm saying? So and I'm gonna put that on you, Black Spring Break promoters. I'm putting that on you because you should have been more organized. You should have been well aware of your surroundings, and you should have been well aware of how you've been perceived in the local media, radio station, TV station, newspaper, how you've been perceived, and you should have been well aware of that, and you should have corrected that from the beginning. I'm getting mad now because that's how it should have been done. My friend Andre, my brother, he said definitely should have been planned ahead and set it up expectation. Exactly. If you would have patterned yourself at the Cruising the Coast, the staple event now, besides Mardi Gras, America's Block Party is what it's being advertised as. America's largest block party is what it's being advertised as. If you follow their pattern, you will see the same thing, same results, because it's virtually almost the same event. Only difference is the car effect. You mean to tell me that as as a citizen, hey Natalie, how you doing? Happy late birthday. As a citizen of Gulfport, Biloxi, or Pasquotank, Mississippi, 39571, that you can sit on the beach all day long and drink beer, smoke your cigars or whatever you smoke, cigarettes or cigar weed, whatever it is, barbecue, uh, play your music loud, hours and hours at a time, every day of the week for a week and a half. Now it's a week and almost 2 weeks. My brother Joe, boy, where you at, boy? But you mean to tell me it's okay for you to do that? Watch these cars go up and down the beach, but you can't do the same thing. You can't get on the beach and barbecue and drink beer and smoke what they smoke or whatever they do and just gather and walk on the beach. Can't do that. But you can come down here and do that and sit your ass down and get there right there by the road, waiting for somebody to run over your punk ass. Get right there by the road and drink and have your cooler and wave and let the car blow the horn. I've been there. I've seen it. I've seen it. So you can do that, but you can't do the other bit. Same thing. You mean to tell me you can gather on the beach for cruising the coast, but you can't gather on the beach for spring break? I know I'm ranting and raving now, man, but I'm just saying, man, you should have been well organized event coordinators. You should have made these kids register, like I said, I'm not gonna say his name, but I told him to his face, you should make these kids register. And when you make them register, give them a list of hotels, give them a list of restaurants that accept you and welcome your business and send them there. Go here for a discount. Go here for whatever. But don't go to Applebee's, and I hate to say names of restaurants that I don't know if they, but don't go down there because they're gonna close their doors at 5, and then but you should have been on that coordinators. You should have been on that, like white on rice. You should have been on that and let these kids make them register, let them know where they can go to have a good time, give an itinerary of every event you got going on that's sponsored by your organization, not just everything that goes on, but what's the ones that sponsor. Let these kids know it's safe to go hit this water gun fight. You're gonna get in free with your badge or your wristband. It's smart to have a free barbecue and everybody that registered, hey, it goes along with the price of registration. You're welcome at these events. This Cruising the Coast does the same thing. That's why they make these cars register because they want to know, one, exactly how many people are going to be here. Two, how many people that they're allowing to come into their free events for free and do what they do, sell their car and everything. They want to know this. Should have did the same thing. That's on you, Black Spring Break promoters. Another thing is on you, Black Spring Break promoters, is like I said, put yourself in a bad light. You should have came out and said, hey, this is not what you think it is. This is not this, that. You should have changed the name, in my opinion. And I'm not saying that. I know, like I said, Black Beach Week in Virginia Beach, Black Beach Week in Daytona. What was it called? Black Beach in Galveston, Texas. They all had the word black on them. And it's just because for my white viewers that's looking and listening to what I'm saying, the only reason why the word black was invented on there, I mean, added to there, because it's the natural uh, spring break days of the historically black colleges and universities. So it's like, sometimes the different spring breaks fall on different weeks. Like say Mississippi State and Ole Miss have a different spring break week in than some of the historically black colleges. You know what I'm saying? But let's take it even further than that. You ever wonder why we had to add that label? I had somebody told me one time, man, and I was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, home of the mighty Pittsburgh Steelers, my team. I was living in Pittsburgh. Somebody asked me, why do we, and he said we, he was looking at a young, very handsome black male, why do we always play the race card when something don't go our way? He asked me, I'm gonna tell you what he asked me again. Hey Sylvia, how you doing, Sylvia? I'm gonna tell you what he asked me again. He said, why do we always play the race card when something don't go our way? And I'm gonna tell you my response. And my response was, why in the hell is the race card still in the deck after all this time? There shouldn't be a race card in the deck. So what we're doing is playing the cards that's dealt to us. So if we happen to end up getting the card, it's like the ace of spades. You get the ace of spades, you got to play it because that's the card you received. That's the card that you're privy to. That's the card that you got. You got it. What you got to get all your cards out. Spades players. You know what I mean? So my response to him was, why is the race card even in the deck after all this time? If you don't want the race card to be played, stop dealing the motherfucker. And I'm getting mad. I shouldn't be cursing like that. Hey, Venice, how you doing? My mama watching. I love you, mama. But I'm saying that, said that to say this. It's always a reason why you see, oh man, the first black player in the major league, Jackie Robinson, first black this, or first black that, because we weren't included in the original. You shut us out of the original. To my white viewers and white friends, I'm just not you, but I'm just saying, your society shut us out in the beginning. It shut us out. It had to be a first. Ever see anything? Who uh, the first white man to do this, to do that, do this, do that? You know why? Because they were included. That's why I say, and that goes back to what I was saying about uh, civil rights, our civil rights history in the '60s. We just wanted to be included. When you shut the doors on us, when you didn't want us drinking at your water fountains, you didn't want us using the same bathroom. This is what I'm saying, man. You don't want us to use the same bathroom when everybody shit stink. Come on, man. You don't want us drinking out the same water fountain because why? You scared that if a little drip of the water might fall down in the little sink thing, it might get in your hand on it. Why? I don't know. It makes sense. You don't want us to eat at the same restaurant. Why? That's '60s. I'm just saying. But that's the reason why on some of these events, and this is just for my white friends and white viewers, that we had to add the word black on a lot of this stuff because we wasn't privy to our own. You know what I'm saying? We had that. That's why we had to have a Miss Black America. That's why we had to have black national championships in football and basketball because you wouldn't let us play for yours. See what I'm saying? So that's why the stigma of Black Spring Break or Black Beach Week or Black Bike Week or whatever it is, that's good because you're not including us in yours. See what I'm saying? And I wanted, I would dare even say that in my opinion, I believe if it was a spring break catered towards, well, it is actually, but it's not events. When Mississippi State and Ole Miss and LSU go on their spring break, they come down here, the kids don't get treated like criminals or common day thieves or thugs. And if they had an event like that, um, if they had an event like that, I think it'd be well received. I think it would be like, hey, these kids coming down, welcome spring breakers. I guarantee you it would. But that's why I stayed on these Black Spring Break promoters that the word black in there is going to cause you to lose, you know, and that's just fact. And Brother Andre said they weren't going to give us no credit. It wasn't. And they trying to take away the credit we got away now, thanks to the current president. They don't want everybody to know you served in the army, brother. You know what I'm saying? And they don't want everybody to know that we're just as good, if not better, in some instances than they are. And that's the racial side of it. Everybody's not like that. All we white people are not racist. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. That is my opinion also, but that's a fact also. All white people are not scary racists or cowards. A racist, a bigot is a coward. All white people are not racist or not bigot, and they're not cowards. Just like all black people ain't thugs, and all black people ain't got a gun. All black people don't have a gun and looking to shoot somebody and rob somebody. The stigmas on those names, and that's we need to erase that. We need to erase that, man. But I'm saying this to say this again. Um, the difference between Cruising the Coast and Black Spring Break is like night and day. Why? When it brings the same type of events, the same type of problems, definitely same type of problem. Again, I'm not privy to announce any announcement tonight because my guest didn't show up. Something major happened at Elaine tonight, and I'm waiting to hear on that. But I'm not going to say anything about that either. But um, something went down at Elaine tonight. I don't know what, but pay attention to your local news. I guess I don't know, but we know, you know, I know, they know the problem and why they want to shut it down and why they want to keep it to a minimum or why they want to not deem it to be safe or want to welcome people to come here. We know why. But the question is, what's happening next? Where do you go from here? It's easy to if I go to school in Alabama, if I go to school in Florida, it's easy for me to say, man, I'm staying my ass in Florida. If I come from Chicago, say, man, I ain't going to Mississippi, I'm going to Tennessee or whatever. It's easy to do that. But we as locals, our kids go to college too. And our kids, deserve to enjoy themselves during their spring break also. So even if it was a local event, they're not gonna enjoy it. They're not gonna give you the opportunity to do what you want to do. What's next? What do you do? And this is a question. I don't have the answer. What do you do? What's next? Do we go back to the drawing board, organize better, present it better, different events, different cities? Or do we continue to try and push the agenda of Black Spring Break and we do what we want to do and nobody can tell us what to do? Do we go back to that? What is next? I'm leaving y'all something to think about. Hey, Miss Grace, how you doing? Tell my boy I said what's up. But giving you something to think about. I'm asking the question. What is next? What do you plan on doing next? And and whatever you do next, are you willing to support? Are you willing to take the time out? And I'm gonna tell you this. Hey Stacy, what's up, cuz? I love you. I'm gonna tell you this. The first Black Spring Break, there was a group of people of adults um, that was walking around helping out the kids that was down here, helping them out of trouble. They seen somebody doing the wrong thing, they would uh, walk up to them and talk to them. People like my good friend, my high school football coach Joe Brown. Uh, People like who was it? There's a bunch of people. Like a lot of my old teachers, a lot of prominent people in our communities, lawyers, and like I said, teachers. What's up, C. Sam? That went around and they talked to these kids and they told them the do's and don'ts, what they expected from them. They saw them interacting with the police. They stood right there with them. I know I ain't don't remember this shit. I'm telling you that it happened. I was there. That they was like a voice, a buffer, if you will, in between the police and the kids. You know what I'm saying? Some of them got arrested. I'm not lying. I'm just telling you the truth. Some of them got arrested, but they don't do it no more. But back then, the first one they did. So what I'm asking you is the next event that happens on this coast that meant for our entertainment, are you going to support it? And are you going to help shed a good light on it? I'm talking to the same people I just told to go register to vote tomorrow because the last day is to register to vote. I'm talking to the same people that we're going to elect on June 5th. I'm talking to y'all, the people that's from here, the electorate, the elected, the police chiefs, and all that stuff. Are you willing to work with the next thing to come down here? That's the question we have to ask, man. That's just how it is. Each city, are you willing to work with some of these people that's trying to bring events and revenue to your cities? That's why the election is very important. And I'm gonna say it again. Um, I'm gonna say it again. Know who you're electing. Don't just elect nobody by the name. I said it on the political show I had with I had the candidates on, meet the candidates. That's why I had it, because I want you to understand who these people are. Yep, Jake. Jake said they got harassed and arrested. Yeah, a bunch of them got it was God Squad or something like I can't remember, but it was a bunch of people from the churches and a bunch of people, the teachers, like I said, Joe Brown, my coach was in it. You know, I saw him plenty of times like that. They had the little red shirts on. Y'all remember that? I mean, I'm just saying. Brother Andre said, y'all go register to vote, please. You got to tomorrow. Get your ass up at 9 o'clock before you go to work, go register to vote, man, and vote in June. Because like I said, these are the people that's gonna be dictating what happens in our city. These are the people that's gonna be the ones that's gonna respond to what's happening in our city. If you think for one damn minute that Donald Trump care what goes on in Gulfport, Mississippi, you in trouble. Black or white people, I don't care who you are. Because it don't happen like that. The state and local officials are the ones that we elect, that the ones that serve the most impact on our communities. I'm just saying, man. And I'm saying the same people I'm talking to register to vote, the same people I'm talking to that we're going to elect in these offices. Are you willing to work with what's coming next? Because something's coming. You better believe something's coming because we like to be entertained too. I'm just letting you know that's the only announcement I'm gonna make. Something new is coming, but are you gonna stop it? And to the organizer of the event that's coming next, are you gonna plan better? You have to do better to receive better. That's a challenge to these new promoters and event holders that's coming in to Gulf Coast that's planning new things. You have to plan better. You have to realize who you're dealing with. You have to know these officials that's going to be elected June 5th. You should get to know every last one of them to work with them. You should plan your organization and making a real organization. Plan that first. Get your people in place and then plan your event accordingly. Is my opinion. I believe, in my opinion, I believe, and I'm gonna get off it like I said, I ain't gonna be long. A person didn't show up, that's fine. In my opinion, I believe that the more you organize and the better equipped your event is to cater to the multitudes of people on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, the more success you would have and the more support you would have from these local officials, restaurants, all that stuff. But if you're singing yourself out and call yourself whatever it is and only looking for a certain amount of people to come, you're going to fail. You're going to fail on reasons because the restaurants are going to shut you out. The police are going to stop you, harass you, arrest you. The city officials are going to ban you, stop you from making money, stop you from having vendors. You know why I know that? Because we already see it happen. It just happened. The same things I just said happened with Black Spring Break. Stop me when I'm lying. I'll wait. So, in closing, this rambling, if you want to call it that, in closing, what we know today is that Black Spring Break did not work for several reasons. Black Spring Break, again, did not work for several reasons. I challenge these new event uh, people, the promoters and stuff, to look at what happened to Black Spring Break and don't do that. I challenge these event preparers and the promoters and these idea people with ideas to follow something different, a different path. Make your event legitimate. And any way you can include these cities, these different cities and these casinos, do it. You see what it's done for cruising the coast. You mark my word. Come when is it, October the 10th or 12th, whatever. You mark my word. During that time, all these casino boys gonna light up and say, "Welcome to cruises. Cruiser, welcome here." The restaurants gonna have their signs, their little fold up signs out there in the yard. Welcome cruisers. It's by design, and also come from years and years of planning and being an organized unit that promotes these events. That's involved in the community year long, not just you know. For 1 minute, if you think that the people that run cruising the coast wait till 1st of October and say, "Hey, we're gonna do this in 2 weeks," you got it fucked up because they don't. They do this shit year long, man. This organization, they do it year long. These casinos send out pamphlets to these guests year long, getting them ready for October. You don't believe me? Ask somebody to work in casinos. I guarantee you. Well, I ain't gonna say I guarantee, but I'll tell you, these smart restaurant owners know who these clientele is, and they send them shit every year. I guarantee you they do. When you come back down here, man, we're gonna give you 10% off because you came last year. They probably give it to them when they leave or something. Give them like a little coupon. When you come back next year, use this coupon, buddy. I'm just saying. I hope to do another show on some of this stuff, especially before cruising the coast come again. And I don't want to miscrew anybody, or I don't want nobody saying that I'm totally against cruising the coast. No, I'm not. I'm for cruising the coast. I support cruising the coast. I don't attend the events because I work. But I mean, that's just how it is. Anything that goes on down here, I'll support in my own way. Don't mean I have to go out there and spend no money. Definitely ain't going down there and sit down and watch cars fly by every goddamn 5 minutes blowing the horn at me. I don't care about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to Mardi Gras, but I love Mardi Gras. But I don't have to go to parade to love Mardi Gras. You see what I'm saying? I don't know, man. All I'm saying is this, man. The die has been cast. The mold has been set. The good thing about Black Spring Break from the year 2000 to the year 2025, rest in peace, Black Spring Break, and I'm gonna say it like that. The good thing about it is, hopefully, we've learned lessons. Hopefully, we learned what we should not do and what we should do better, and we grow. Like I said, trust me, there's more events coming. Trust me, there's more events coming. So be ready and instead pay attention. But this time, when these events come down here, they're catered to us for our entertainment purposes only. Support it. But y'all waiting on something else. That was it. Support it. As a local standpoint, support it. You can't sit back and say, "Oh, I ain't going to that event because such do it." No, support it. That's how you win it over. That's how you become successful from support. Support the event. Go to the event if you got to or not. Just mention the event. Whatever. How you support things, whatever you do. But you can't be denied. You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine a city council turning down Mardi Gras? And I'm telling you, cruising the coast is on a Mardi Gras level now. They look forward to cruising the coast. Like we used to look forward to Mardi Gras. They look forward to cruising the coast. And I'm a liking the same difference between cruising the coast and Black Spring Break as it is with uh, Juneteenth and the 4th of July. I just said something powerful there. I don't care what you think or what you say. You liking Juneteenth to the 4th of July like you liking uh, Black Spring Break to cruising the coast because it's the same thing. If you didn't know, Juneteenth is to celebrate independence. Same thing as 4th of July. Black Spring Break is a block party. Same thing as Cruising the Coast, America's largest block party, as it's being advertised. So don't get it twisted, man. Don't get it twisted. Don't think that you can't. Don't think that you can't stop racism or bigotry, because you can. And you white people, my white friends that's listening, with your help, we can. But you got to call it when you see it. You can't sit back and talk about it, when you're with your friend, man. I sure hate to do y'all like that, man. I ain't like that. Okay, if you ain't like that, then stand up and march with us. Stand up and protest with us, as they did in the '60s. I ain't gonna say they didn't, but talk about your white friends. Challenge your white friends that all you have to stand with you on these issues. If they really not like that, they really don't believe in racism. I ain't a racist. No, you're not a racist, but you're not helping in the fight by standing on the sideline. White friends, and I'm talking to all our white friends and white coworkers, get your ass in the game and help. That's how you beat racism. That's how you beat these bigots, these cowards. And I said that, and that's my. Hey, if you a bigot or a racist, you a coward, because you can't do nothing on your own. You got to have groups and groups of people, and you got to far outnumber the other people. That's the only time you're gonna lynch somebody. Back in talking about lynching back in the day. That's the only time you're gonna push somebody out the goddamn door of a restaurant because it was two or three, and you got 15, 20. That's the only time. One on one, you ain't gonna do a goddamn thing. You know it. I get mad when I talk about stuff like that, man. But I'm just letting you know. White friends, join in the fight. Get your ass off. Stop sitting on the sideline drinking Gatorade. Get your ass in the game and make a play. That's how you beat racism. Now, see, my tone changed. Let me get off of that, man. But again, back to this. Something else is coming, so be ready. But the problem is, and the issue is, and the question is, what are you going to do? How are you going to support it? I guess time will tell, man. But I mean, we can still play. We can still lay down and get a dick in the booty if y'all want to do that, like you've been doing. Y'all can do that all you want. You do that very well. We do that very well. I'm not talking about just y'all. I'm talking about all of us. We do that very well. Or we can stand up for ourselves, man, and make stuff happen for ourselves, and do things for ourselves, and enjoy ourselves, and have good times ourselves, and protect ourselves at the same time, and include others. Hey, Mister, how you doing? Again, man, I'm gonna get off of that subject, man. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off, man, tonight. Tune my audience down, and I hope I've inspired somebody. I hope I gave somebody some ideas. I hope I gave somebody some get up and go about themselves, to get up, first of all, to go register and vote. Tomorrow morning, tomorrow's the last day. You know what I'm saying? Go do it before you eat. Make it make a point to say, I'm going to go register before I eat. And you know you ain't eating all day, you're gonna get your ass up and go register to vote. And then once you registered, and for those that's registered already, get out and vote June 5th. Because I was telling my brother this the other day, I don't think we have a register problem. But a lot of people are registered to vote, but we just don't turn out. We don't exercise our right. That's like going to Planet Fitness and got a membership to Planet Fitness, but don't use the barbell, don't use the treadmill. Go in there just to watch the girls work. I don't know what you do. I'm just saying. That's just like, that don't make any sense. Why'd you get a membership to Planet Fitness and don't work out? Or work out once a year instead of working out every day of the year? It don't make sense, does it? So being registered to vote and not voting definitely don't make sense. Can you imagine, man, our grandparents going to the courthouse in the sweltering heat? I'm gonna set the scene for you. and run into somebody with a big old countrywide ass hat with chewing tobacco, spitting on the floor. You ain't gonna rest today. Can you imagine how they felt? Can you imagine what they went through, man, to have it in place for today? We can just go register at will and just do that, you know. And can you imagine our great grandparents that come fresh out of slavery, going to the same courthouse their sister was hung in, or their brother, or their mama was hung in to register to vote, and walk away feeling prideful? You see, man, like I keep telling y'all, man, my whole purpose of this show is to bring our culture back to our community because somewhere we have a gap. It's a gap from when my mom and daddy was being raised to where I was raised to where I'm raising my own. You see what I'm saying? It's a gap somewhere. We need to bridge that gap and bring our culture back to our community. It's the sole purpose of this show. That's why I do different shows on different things because I want to make sure that everything in our culture that's been left out be brought back to our communities. Just that simple, man. Like I said, not because I want to do it or I have to do it, because I'm going to do it. I want to make the difference. I'm going to make a difference. You know what I'm saying? I'm just that confidence, man. I appreciate again everybody that's always tuning in, always commenting, um, always supporting, and always sharing my videos. And I love you. I appreciate it, man. I really do. And I'm gonna tell you like this. I really want to let you know that I do have something coming up with the Coach Connection that I'm going to start um, giving updates on. But I'm start doing some T-shirts, and I want you to be privy to that. When I get ready to do it, I'll make the announcement. That way, you can, if you want a Culture Connection T-shirt, you can inbox me now with your size and everything, and I'll try to have something for you. But that's coming soon. Just want to make that announcement. It is coming soon. So be on the lookout for the Culture Connection T-shirts. I'll be making posts on Facebook. I'll be making posts on YouTube, and I'll be doing that stuff to promote that, man. And it's going to be, just strictly for support. Um, you can donate, help support, and help me continue to do what I do. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for that. I really appreciate that, man, and I really appreciate y'all tuning in every week. Like I said, stay in tune, and let me direct y'all how we're gonna run this thing going forward. But my time is up tonight, man. My throat is scarfed out because I'm yelling and screaming and cussing. But what's next? Remember that. That's the question I'm leaving you with. And are you going to support it? And I'm talking to everybody on the Gulf Coast. Yeah, you know how I like to do it this time, man. I like to sign. I have a signature song that I play before I leave, man. And again, I want to thank everybody for joining, man. I hate that my guest didn't show up, but I know him. He's a good dude. If he didn't show up, something really going on. Something really had him because we were planning for this the whole week, but something happened. But like I always say, man, listen to the words of this song, man. This song is called "Working Together" by Frankie Beverly, the late Frankie Beverly, rest your soul, and Maze. One of my favorite songs, man. So it's called "Working Together," and that's something we have to do to control our communities and get back the culture and the fun in our communities and to protect our children. We got to work. Everybody that tuned in today, again, tell a friend, share it, man. Share it with your friends. Comment. You can still comment. You can reach me at any time. You can inbox me about the show. Anything you want to come on the show, inbox me. Let me know what's up, man. But God bless. Have a good night. Have a good week. Stay positive. Register to vote. When you register to vote, vote.
Everybody been put to a test. Been trying to change things.
Good night, man.
Rearrange things, and we're still in the same old mess. We've got the power, yes we do, to turn things around. We can keep on waiting, procrastinating, we'll drive ourselves gotta start learning how to do our thing and give each other some respect. Yes, yes, yes. Got to learn to give, I'm telling you like it is. Let's not forget. No. Let's work together and make it happen. Let's work together and make it happen. Working together and make us best friends. If we work together, we can watch it happen. Come on, come on. You and me need to be able to see. You and me need to be able to see. Everybody, we got work to do. You don't have to eat it. One day you'll need it. It'll come right back to you. And I'm telling you, we've got the power now to make all things right. We can live with each other, love one another. We don't have to fuss or fight. No, 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 no. We gotta start learning how to do our thing and give each other some respect. We've got to learn to give, I'm telling you like it is. Let's not forget. No. Let's work together and make it happen. Let's work together and make it happen. Working together can make us best friends. If we work together, we can watch it happen. Come on, 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 come on. See, Lord have mercy. Now let the band play. Working together can make you happy. Working together.